He called her dead weight. He divorced her and abandoned her as she lay paralyzed in a hospital bed while she was 8 months pregnant. He stole everything she had. But when he sent her an invitation to his wedding with her best friend, to humiliate her, he didn't know she was about to walk in, unstoppable, with a secret that would destroy him. Stay till the end, subscribe to this channel, and watch what happens when betrayal meets calculated revenge, and no one walks away the same. The words slice through the hospital room just as the heart monitor spikes. Bella Brooks's fingers twitch against the thin white sheet, her nails digging into fabric because that's the only thing that still listens to her. The ceiling above her is too bright, the lights cruel and steady, like they don't care that her entire life cracked open 48 hours ago. "Bella," the man says again, sharper now. "Don't make this harder than it has to be." She knows that voice better than her own breathing. Her husband, Brian Brooks. She turns her head slowly, each movement deliberate, as if she's afraid the world might shatter again if she moves too fast. Her legs don't respond. They haven't since the crash. They lie there, useless, hidden under the blanket like something shameful. Brian stands at the foot of her bed, tall, polished, impatient. He's wearing the navy suit she bought him for their anniversary, the one he said made him look powerful. In his hand is a thick manila folder. Divorce papers. Bella's throat tightens. What is that?" He exhales, already annoyed. "You know what it is." Behind him, someone shifts. Bella's eyes flick past Brian. Her heart stutters. Megan Watson. Her best friend. The woman who sat beside her just last week, rubbing her back while she threw up from morning sickness. The woman who promised to help plan the baby shower. The woman who swore she'd never let Bella face anything alone. Megan stands there now, hands clasped in front of her, eyes glossy but dry. She doesn't step forward. She doesn't say Bella's name. Bella feels the baby move inside her. A sharp, sudden kick, like a warning. "Why is she here?" Bella whispers. Brian doesn't look back. "Because this concerns her too." The room tilts. Megan swallows. "Bella, I didn't plan for it to happen like this. Like this." As if betrayal is just bad timing. Bella's pulse pounds in her ears. "Happen? Like what?" Brian flips the folder open and slides the papers onto the rolling tray table, right next to the untouched hospital food. "Like you becoming paralyzed. Like your father's company collapsing. Like everything falling apart at once." Her chest tightens. "The doctors said there's still a chance." Brian cuts in. He laughs, short and humorless. "No. They said you might never walk again." He leans closer, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret. "And I can't spend my life pushing a wheelchair, Bella." The words land harder than the crash ever did. Megan finally looks up, her gaze flicking to Bella's legs, then away again. "Brian, maybe don't say it like that." He straightens. "Say it like what?" "The truth." Bella's hands curl into fists. "You're divorcing me. While I'm pregnant. In a hospital bed." "Yes." The certainty in his voice is worse than shouting. "And her." Bella nods weakly toward Megan. Brian doesn't hesitate. He reaches back and takes Megan's hand, lacing their fingers together like they've done it 1,000 times before. "We're together." The air disappears from the room. Bella stares at their joined hands. At the intimacy. At the comfort. "How long?" she asks. Megan's voice trembles, but she answers anyway. "Months. Months." While Bella was grieving her father. Months while she was working late, trying to save Castellan Dynamics. Months while she was carrying Brian's child. Brian sighs, as if bored with explanations. "You were always too focused on that company. Too busy being powerful. Then the accident happened, and honestly," he shrugs. "It just clarified things." Clarified. Bella laughs softly, the sound broken. "Clarified that you're leaving your crippled pregnant wife?" Brian's eyes harden. Watch your tone. Her laugh turns into a breathless gasp. You're unbelievable. No, he snaps. I'm realistic. Look at you. His gaze drops to her legs again. You're deadweight now. Silence crashes into the room. Even the machines seem to pause. Bella feels something inside her snap, not loudly, not dramatically, but cleanly, like a rope finally cutting loose. Dead weight. Megan winces. Brian. What? He says. Am I wrong? Her father's gone. The company's bankrupt. She can't walk. What exactly is she bringing to the table? Bella's hand moves instinctively to her stomach. My child, she says hoarsely. Brian scoffs. I'll send support. Legally required. I'm not heartless. Megan squeezes his hand, her thumb brushing his knuckles in a way that makes Bella's stomach twist. This isn't easy for us either, Bella. That's when Bella understands. They've already moved on. She's just an inconvenience they're clearing away. Brian pushes the pen toward her, placing it between her fingers. Sign. The faster you do this, the cleaner it stays. No court. No drama. Bella looks at the paper, the black ink swimming in front of her eyes. You planned this, she whispers. Brian doesn't deny it. Her baby kicks again, stronger this time. Bella closes her eyes. For one terrifying second, she considers screaming, throwing the papers, calling for a nurse, begging. Then she remembers something her father used to say when boardrooms underestimated him. Never show your hand while the game is still being played. She opens her eyes. Brian is watching closely, a flicker of anticipation in his gaze. He wants to see her break. Bella lowers the pen. Her signature flows across the page. Steady, deliberate. Brian exhales in relief. Good. That's the smartest decision you've made in months. Megan whispers. I hope you heal, Bella. Bella doesn't look at her. Brian gathers the papers and turns to leave. At the door, he pauses. Oh, and Megan and I are getting married. Eventually. I thought you should hear it from me. The door clicks shut. Bella is alone. The silence stretches. Her chest rises and falls in uneven breaths. Tears slip down her temples, soaking into the pillow, but her face remains still. She stares at the ceiling again. Paralyzed. Divorced. Pregnant. Presumed broke. If you've ever been abandoned when you were at your lowest, when people decided you were no longer worth loving, stay with this story. And if you don't want to miss how this ends, subscribe. Some betrayals think they've already won. Right before everything turns. Bella's hand tightens over her stomach. I'm still here, she whispers to her unborn child. And in that quiet hospital room, with nothing left to lose, Bella Brooks begins to plan. Because Brian thinks this story is over. It's only just begun. The door hasn't even finished closing before Bella exhales. It isn't a sob. It's air leaving her lungs like she's been holding it since the moment Brian walked in with that folder. The monitor resumes its steady rhythm. Beep, beep, beep. She stares at the door for a long time, half expecting it to open again, half terrified that it might. Her legs remain silent beneath the sheet. No pain. No movement. Just absence. A nurse enters quietly. Mrs. Brooks. Bella blinks. Not anymore. The nurse hesitates, then offers a practiced smile. Your doctor will be in shortly. When the nurse leaves, the room returns to stillness. Bella presses her palm against her stomach. The baby moves again, gentle this time, as if sensing her fear. I know, Bella whispers. I know. The doctor arrives 10 minutes later. Dr. Harris is in his late 40s, with kind eyes and a posture that suggests he carries bad news more often than he should. He closes the door behind him and pulls a chair close to her bed. How are you feeling? He asks. She almost laughs. How honest do you want me to be? She says. He studies her face. Very. My husband just divorced me. My best friend is sleeping with him. I can't feel my legs. And I'm pregnant. She swallows. So, I'd say I've had better weeks. Dr. Harris exhales slowly. I'm sorry. So am I, Bella says. But that's not why I asked to see you. His brow furrows. What can I do? Bella shifts slightly, the movement more for dignity than effect. You told my husband I might never walk again. Yes, he says carefully. Based on the injury, that is a possible outcome. Possible, she repeats. Not certain. No, he admits. There are treatments. Experimental ones. Physical therapy. Time. Bella nods. If Brian knew that, he'd wait. Dr. Harris goes still. Wait. For my recovery, she says. For control. The doctor's eyes sharpen. Bella, what are you asking me to do? She meets his gaze without blinking. I want you to tell him the worst-case scenario. No hope. No recovery. I want him to believe I'm done. Dr. Harris leans back. That would be unethical. So is abandoning a pregnant woman in a hospital bed, Bella replies softly. Silence stretches between them. Finally, he asks, why? Bella's voice doesn't waver. Because I need to know who he really is. And I need him to underestimate me. The doctor studies her for a long moment. Then he sighs. I can't lie in medical records. I don't need you to, she says. Just speak plainly. Emphasize permanence. He'll hear what he wants to hear. Another pause. Dr. Harris nods once. I'll speak to him. Thank you. After he leaves, Bella closes her eyes. The next day, Brian returns. This time, he doesn't bother pretending concern. He leans against the wall, arms crossed, waiting. Dr. Harris delivers the prognosis calmly. Given the extent of the spinal damage, he says, the likelihood of full mobility is extremely low. You should prepare for long-term paralysis. Brian nods as if he's just been told the weather. No questions. No disbelief. No, what can we do? Understood, Brian says. That's all. Bella watches his reflection in the glass. That's the moment she knows. Not when he insulted her. Not when he filed for divorce. But now, when hope is offered, he doesn't even glance at it. That evening, Bella makes her first call. The number isn't saved in her phone. She knows it by heart. Put me on speaker, she says when the line connects. 3 voices respond. Her CFO. Her legal counsel. Her father's oldest business partner. Bella. Someone asks. We heard about the accident. I'm alive, she says. And I need you to do exactly what I say. They listen. Castellan Dynamics is going dark, Bella continues. Publicly bankrupt. Liquidated. No assets. No future. A sharp inhale on the line. That would destroy their confidence, she finishes. And protect what matters. Silence. Then, if anyone can pull this off, it's you. Good, Bella says. Because my husband is watching. She hangs up and stares at the ceiling again. 2 days later, headlines explode. Castellan Dynamics faces total collapse. Heiress left paralyzed after tragic accident. Insiders confirm assets being liquidated. Bella watches the news from her hospital bed. Brian watches from his penthouse. He doesn't call. Instead, Bella's phone lights up with a notification. Joint account. Transfer initiated amount. $3 million recipient. Brian Brooks. Bella exhales slowly. There it is. She forwards the alert to her attorney with one word. Document. The next day, Megan posts a photo online. Champagne flutes. Sunlight. Brian's arm around her waist. Caption. New beginnings. Bella turns the phone face down. Her body aches as physical therapy begins. Her legs burn with effort. Sweat soaks through her hospital gown. She bites her lip until she tastes blood. Every step attempt ends the same way. Failure. But she keeps going. Weeks pass. Brian files paperwork. The divorce is finalized. Megan moves into his place. And then, an envelope arrives. Ivory cardstock. Gold lettering. Bella opens it slowly. You're invited to celebrate our love. Her eyes move to the handwritten note beneath. Wheelchair accessible venue. We thought of everything. Bella smiles. If you've ever watched someone who hurt you move on like you never mattered, stay. And if you believe people like Brian shouldn't get away with it, subscribe. Because this invitation isn't mercy. It's a mistake. Bella folds the card carefully and places it on her bedside table. Then she presses the call button. Book me a jet, she says when her assistant answers. And make sure security is ready. On the screen, her legs tremble as she tries to stand again. This time, they don't collapse. Not yet. But they shake. And that's enough to make her smile. Because Brian thinks he's won. And the people who think they've won too early always lose the hardest. The money doesn't stop at $3 million. That's what Bella realizes as the days crawl forward and the reports stack up quietly on her tablet. Brian doesn't just take the easy way out. He strips everything. A second transfer appears. Smaller, deliberate. Then another. He closes shared credit lines, liquidates bonds she didn't even know he had access to, and reroutes dividends meant for future quarters. Every move is clean. Efficient. Like he's done this before in his head. Bella watches from her hospital room, face unreadable, heart steady. He's not panicking. He's celebrating. Across the city, Brian stands in a glass-walled office he rented overnight, sunlight spilling across the hardwood floors. Megan leans against the desk, barefoot, laughing as she flips through design samples. This place is perfect, she says. Open. Bold. Ours. Brian grins. It's just the beginning. His phone buzzes. An investor. Then another. The fake bankruptcy did exactly what Bella knew it would do. It flushed the cautious out and lured the predators in. The ones who love a fallen empire, they think they can rebuild under their own name. Brian feeds them the story they want. My ex-wife ran the company into the ground, he says smoothly. I tried to warn her. She didn't listen. Tragic accident. Tragic leadership. Megan squeezes his arm. You survived, she adds softly. They nod sympathetically. Bella watches a clip of the interview later that night. Brian doesn't mention her pregnancy. He doesn't mention the accident details. He smiles into the camera and says, failure teaches you who you really are. Bella turns the volume off. In rehab, the room smells like rubber mats and effort. Sweat slicks her spine as she grips the parallel bars. Her legs tremble violently, muscles screaming as if offended by the request. Again, the therapist says. She inhales. Her foot lifts, barely. It drops. Pain flares. Tears sting her eyes, but she doesn't let them fall. Again, she says. Every night, when the room goes dark and the machines soften to a whisper, she studies the reports from her executive team. Hidden accounts stable. Core assets protected. Legal traps quietly set. Her father's company isn't dead. It's sleeping. Brian, meanwhile, moves fast. Too fast. He launches Brooks Development Group within a month. Press releases call him resilient. Articles praise his grace under pressure. Megan appears at his side in every photo, polished and glowing, playing the supportive partner. She posts a new picture every day. Sunsets. Rooftop dinners. Her hand on Brian's chest. Sometimes loss is just redirection. One caption reads. Bella stares at the words until they blur. If you've ever been erased from someone's life like you were just a phase, stay with this story. And if you believe people who betray trust shouldn't be rewarded, subscribe. Some smiles are built on stolen ground. The doctor visits again. Your progress is unusual, Dr. Harris admits. You shouldn't be able to bear this much weight yet. Bella forces herself upright, jaw clenched. I don't have time to be usual. He studies her carefully. What's pushing you? She doesn't answer. Because the truth is simple. Every headline with Brian's name on it feels like a hand around her throat. Every laugh Megan posts feels like salt on an open wound. And every night, her unborn child shifts inside her, reminding her that losing is not an option. One afternoon, her assistant arrives with a thin folder and a careful expression. He's getting married, she says. Bella doesn't look up. I know. The date's set. Venue booked. Guest list finalized. Bella finally meets her eyes. How many? Just over 300. Investors. Politicians. Press. A public stage. Bella nods. Good. That night, another message arrives. This one not from a bank or a lawyer, but from Megan. I hope you're healing. I know this is hard, but we didn't mean to hurt you. Bella reads it twice. Then deletes it. Across town, Brian pours champagne into 2 glasses. To us, he says, raising his. Megan clinks hers against it. To never going back. They kiss. Neither of them notices the quiet audit request sliding through Brooks' development group system. Neither of them notices the anonymous tip forwarded to a regulatory office. Neither of them knows that Bella's legal team just finished assembling a timeline so precise it could slice through lies like glass. Back in rehab, Bella stands again. This time, she doesn't fall. Her knees wobble. Her vision blurs. But she stays upright. The therapist gasps. Bella. She lets go of the bars. One step. Then another. Her legs scream, but they listen. She laughs, softly, breathlessly, before the pain drags her back into the chair. Dr. Harris stares at her like he's seeing a ghost. Don't tell him, she says, already knowing what he's thinking. I won't, he promises. Weeks pass. Brian's company grows. So does his confidence. Then, one morning, Bella receives a message from her CFO. He's trying to raise another round. Using the stolen funds as proof of traction. Bella closes her eyes. Let him, she says. Because the higher he climbs, the harder the fall. That evening, the wedding invitation arrives again, this time by courier, heavier, more deliberate. A personal note tucked inside. We'd love for you to attend. Closure matters. Bella runs her thumb over the embossed letters. Closure. She looks down at her legs. They twitch. They obey. Her lips curve into a slow, dangerous smile. Brian thinks he's built a new life on her ruins. He has no idea he's standing on a trapdoor. And when it opens, the world will be watching. Pain becomes routine. Not the sharp kind that shocks, but the deep grinding ache that settles into Bella's bones and refuses to leave. It greets her every morning before the sun rises and follows her long after the rehab center empties. She welcomes it. Pain means her body is listening. The room smells like disinfectant and determination. Bella grips the edge of the therapy table as sweat trickles down her neck. Her therapist counts softly, trying not to distract her. 1, 2. Bella pushes herself upright. Her knees buckle. She catches herself before she falls. Again, she says through clenched teeth. Across the city, Megan is laughing. She sits at a marble kitchen island, sunlight bouncing off polished countertops, scrolling through wedding dress options on a tablet. Brian stands behind her, arms wrapped around her waist. Classic, he says, pointing. Elegant. People should look at you and know you won. Megan smiles. And Bella. Brian scoffs. She's history. Megan hesitates for half a second. Do you think she'll come? He shrugs. If she does, it'll be in a wheelchair. She'll sit in the back. People will pity her. And then they'll forget her. He kisses her temple. Let her see how life moved on. Bella's phone buzzes mid-session. She ignores it. It buzzes again. During a water break, she checks the screen. Brian Brooks is trending. She clicks the link. A glossy article fills the screen. From Failure to Phoenix. How Brian Brooks Rebuilt After Betrayal. The words blur as she reads. Sources close to Brooks say his ex-wife refused to listen to advice, running a once great company into the ground. After her tragic accident, Brooks stepped away with dignity to rebuild. Dignity. Her hand trembles. The therapist notices. Do you want to stop? No, Bella says. I want to walk. That night, she doesn't sleep. She stares at the ceiling while her baby shifts inside her, a steady rhythm that grounds her when everything else feels unreal. I won't let them erase me, she whispers. The next morning, her legal team arrives. They spread documents across the table, bank records, corporate filings, time-stamped transfers. He's sloppy, her attorney says quietly. Confident people always are. Bella studies the highlighted sections. Will it be enough? Yes, the attorney replies. But timing is everything. Bella nods. Then we wait. Waiting becomes its own torture. Each day, Megan posts more wedding updates, venue previews, floral arrangements, a countdown timer, 30 days, 20, 10. Each number feels like a taunt. 2 weeks before the ceremony, Bella walks unassisted across the rehab room. No bars. No hands. Just will. The therapist covers her mouth. Bella. She doesn't celebrate. She doesn't smile. She keeps going until her legs give out and she collapses into the chair, lungs burning. Dr. Harris pulls her aside later. You're pushing too hard. I don't have a choice, she says. He studies her carefully. You could walk down the aisle if you wanted to. Bella looks at him. Down the aisle. She imagines it. The silence. The shock. Her pulse quickens. That night, she makes another call. Secure the venue's audio feed, she says. And make sure the guest list includes everyone who matters. Her assistant hesitates. What are you planning? Bella smiles faintly. The truth. Meanwhile, Brian finalizes seating charts. He laughs as he reads Bella's name near the back. Accessible view, he jokes. Megan smiles, but something flickers in her eyes. Do you think this is too much? Brian waves her off. She needs closure. And honestly, he lowers his voice. People need to see what happens when you bet against me. The week of the wedding arrives. Bella stands in front of a mirror for the first time in months. She's thinner, stronger. Her eyes are sharper. She takes one step, then another. No pain, just power. Her phone buzzes. A message from her CFO. Everything is ready. Once you speak, there's no turning back. Bella exhales. Good, she whispers. Because she's done waiting. Outside, a storm gathers. And inside a bridal suite across the city, Megan zips into a white dress, smiling at a future she believes is secure. None of them knows what Bella plans to say. None of them knows how close the ground beneath them is to cracking. And when it does, there will be no escape. The gown arrives in silence. No branding. No note. Just a long black garment bag delivered to Bella's temporary apartment overlooking the river. Security scans it before handing it over. When they leave, Bella locks the door herself. Her hands tremble slightly as she unzips the bag. The fabric inside catches the light. Sleek, understated, powerful. Not bridal. Not soft. A dress meant to be seen, not admired. Bella runs her fingers over it and exhales. This isn't about beauty. It's about presence. Her phone buzzes. A notification flashes across the screen. Brian Brooks raises an additional $40 million in Series B funding. Bella closes her eyes. He's gone further than she expected. Further than he should have been able to. Across the city, Brian stands in a private dining room, glass raised, surrounded by investors who laugh too loudly and clap too easily. Megan sits at his side, radiant, her hand resting possessively on his knee. To resilience, Brian says. To rebuild from nothing. They cheer. No one mentions Bella. No one mentions where the seed money came from. No one asks why a man whose company collapsed suddenly has access to private capital. Because Brian looks confident. And confidence lies well. Megan leans in, her voice low. Everyone's watching you. He smiles. They should. The night before the wedding, Bella doesn't sleep. She stands by the window, city lights flickering like restless thoughts, one hand resting on her stomach. You'll be safe, she whispers to her baby. I promise. Her phone rings. Her attorney. Last chance to stop this, he says gently. Once you step into that room, everything changes. Bella doesn't hesitate. It already has. Silence on the line. Then, we'll be ready. She hangs up. Morning comes too fast. The wedding venue is massive. White stone, glass walls, manicured gardens crawling with media vans and luxury cars. Guests arrive in waves, dressed in tailored suits and silk dresses, laughing as if nothing ugly has ever touched their lives. Inside, Brian adjusts his cufflinks, grinning at his reflection. Today, he says to his best man, is the final chapter. Megan stands in the bridal suite, surrounded by mirrors and makeup artists. She looks perfect. Untouchable. For just a moment, her smile falters. What if she actually comes? She asks quietly. Brian doesn't even look up. Let her. The ceremony begins. Music swells. Guests settle. Then, outside, a low rumble cuts through the chatter. Heads turn. A sleek black convoy pulls up to the entrance. Security steps forward. Car doors open. Bella steps out. No wheelchair. No assistance. Heels touch the pavement with a sharp, deliberate sound. Conversation dies mid-sentence. Phones rise instinctively. Bella stands tall, her silhouette commanding, her dress catching the light just enough to draw every eye. Her posture is steady. Her steps measured. Each one is a statement. Inside the hall, Megan hears the sudden hush. What's happening? She whispers. Brian frowns, glancing toward the entrance. Then he sees her. The color drains from his face. Bella Brooks walks in like she owns the building. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Whispers spread like fire. Is that? She's walking. I thought she was. Brian takes a step back. No, he mutters. That's not possible. Bella doesn't look at him. She walks past rows of guests who once shook her hand in boardrooms, who once doubted her, who believed the headlines without question. She feels their eyes. She feels their shock. She feels power returning to its rightful place. If you've ever dreamed of the moment your silence finally speaks louder than the people who hurt you, stay with this story. And if you believe villains shouldn't get to rewrite history, subscribe. Some entrances change everything. At the front, the officiant freezes. Megan's breath catches in her throat. Brian, she whispers. She's not supposed to be here like this. Bella stops just a few feet away. The music fades. The room is so quiet it hurts. Brian forces a laugh. Bella, wow. This is unexpected. She finally looks at him. Her gaze is calm. Is it? She asks. He swallows. I'm glad you're better. Better, she repeats softly. Megan steps forward, voice shaking. Bella, this isn't the time. Bella turns to her. The best friend. The betrayer. Oh, Bella says. I disagree. Brian stiffens. Security. They work for me, Bella says. A murmur spreads. Brian's eyes dart around as realization dawns. Bella reaches into her clutch. The room holds its breath. She doesn't pull out a weapon. She pulls out her phone. Before you say your vows, Bella says evenly, I think everyone deserves the truth. Brian lunges forward. You don't get to do this. Bella raises her hand. Screens around the room flicker to life. Bank transfers appear. Dates. Amounts. Names. Gasps turn into stunned silence. Brian freezes. Megan stumbles back, her veil slipping from her hair. This is fake, Brian says, too loudly. She's lying. Bella meets his eyes, unblinking. Then explain, she says, why every dollar you used to build your empire came from my account. The room erupts. Shouts. Questions. Phones are recording everything. Megan's knees buckle. Brian opens his mouth. And sirens wail outside. Bella steps back, giving him space. Not out of fear. Out of mercy. Because the fall is about to begin. And this time, there's nowhere left for Brian to hide. The sirens don't stop. They grow louder, closer, until they slice through the stunned silence like a blade. Red and blue lights bleed through the glass walls of the venue, washing over silk dresses and frozen smiles. Guests turn in their seats, confused, unsettled. Phones are already up. This isn't a wedding anymore. It's a spectacle. Brian's face tightens. This is harassment, he snaps, pointing at Bella. She's trying to ruin us. Us. Megan grips the edge of the altar to stay upright. Her lips part, but no sound comes out. Bella remains still. Calm. Centered. Like someone who already survived the worst part of the story. Two officers step inside, scanning the room. One of them checks a tablet. The other looks directly at Brian. Brian Brooks? The officer asks. Yes, Brian says sharply. And this is a private event. You're being asked to cooperate with an ongoing investigation involving financial fraud and misappropriation of funds. A murmur tears through the crowd. Investors exchange glances. A woman in the front row quietly stands and slips her phone into her purse, already calculating distance. Brian laughs. A sharp, brittle sound. This is absurd. I built my company from nothing. Bella finally speaks again. From nothing. Her voice carries easily, steady and clear. That's interesting. Because the records say otherwise. She gestures. The screens shift. Emails appear. Contracts. Signed authorizations bearing Brian's name, dated just days after the fake bankruptcy announcement. Then a timeline, clean, unforgiving, showing how every major move in Brooks' development group traces back to the same source. Her source. Gasps ripple. Someone whispers. Oh my God. Brian shakes his head, backing away. This is manipulation. She's bitter. She's trying to rewrite history because she couldn't keep up. Bella tilts her head slightly. You divorced me in a hospital bed. Called me Deadweight. Stole from a joint account while I couldn't walk. She pauses. And you think I'm rewriting history? The words land. Hard. Megan finally breaks. Brian, she whispers, tears streaking her makeup. You said this was clean. You said. He snaps at her. Not now. The crowd recoils at his tone. One of the officers steps forward. Mr. Brooks, we're going to need you to come with us. Brian's jaw clenches. Am I under arrest? Not yet. That word echoes. Not yet. Bella's attorney appears beside her, calm and precise. My client has submitted documentation corroborating these findings, including proof of intent. Brian's eyes flick to Bella. For the first time, real fear cracks through his confidence. You planned this, he says lowly. All of it. Bella meets his stare. You taught me. Megan sinks onto a chair, sobbing now. Guests edge away from her, from Brian, from anything that might stain them by proximity. A man in an expensive suit clears his throat. Our firm will be re-evaluating our involvement effective immediately. Another follows. Same. A third doesn't even speak, he simply leaves. Brian watches his future unravel in real time. No, he says, voice rising. You don't get to do this. You don't get to walk in here and destroy everything I built. Bella steps closer. Close enough that only he can hear her. I didn't destroy it, she says softly. I just turned the lights on. Security approaches, no longer looking at Brian as an employer, but as a problem. The officiant quietly slips away. The flowers remain. The white aisle remains. The dream does not. Outside, reporters swarm, cameras flashing through the glass as word spreads faster than anyone can control. Social feeds ignite. Clips are already circulating. Bella walking in, the screens lighting up, Brian unraveling. Megan looks up at Bella through tears. I didn't think he'd go this far. Bella's expression doesn't change. I did. She turns away from them both. But before she can take a step, Brian speaks again, his voice lower now, desperate. You think this makes you powerful? He asks. You think people will forgive you for humiliating us? Bella stops. She turns slowly. This wasn't about humiliation, she says. This was about accountability. She looks around the room, at the guests who once believed the headlines, who nodded along when she was erased. And for the record, she adds, her hand resting instinctively on her stomach, I didn't do this for forgiveness. The officers move in closer. Brian swallows. Bella finishes, I did it so my child grows up knowing the truth. A reporter shouts from outside, Ms. Brooks. Is it true you were never bankrupt? Bella doesn't answer. She walks. Each step is unassisted, intentional, free. Behind her, chaos swells, questions, accusations, raised voices. Brian is surrounded now, boxed in by consequences he never believed would reach him. As Bella exits into the storm of cameras, her phone vibrates in her hand. A message from her CFO. Regulators are escalating. If they connect the shell accounts, this goes criminal fast. Bella exhales. Good. If you've ever been told to move on quietly while the person who hurt you thrived, stay with this story. And if you believe justice shouldn't whisper, subscribe. Because this isn't the end. It's just the moment before everything collapses. Bella steps into the waiting car. The door closes. And behind her, Brian Brooks's world finally starts to burn. The city doesn't sleep that night. Neither does the internet. By dawn, Brian Brooks's name is poison. Clips from the wedding replay everywhere. Slowed down, zoomed in, dissected. His face when Bella walked in. His voice cracked when the screens lit up. The moment the officers stepped forward, his power evaporated. Bella watches none of it. She sits in her living room as morning light spills across the floor, one hand resting on her belly, the other scrolling through internal reports instead of social media outrage. Daniel paces. Sponsors are pulling ads. 3 banks froze credit lines. His real estate arm is hemorrhaging. Bella nods once. Expected. He's fighting, Daniel adds. He's filing motions, claiming emotional distress, coercion, defamation. Bella finally looks up. Of course he is. Men like Brian don't collapse quietly. They thrash. Her phone buzzes again. This time, it's a voicemail. She recognizes his voice instantly. You think people will cheer you forever? Brian snarls through the speaker. They'll get tired of you. They'll remember you're broken. And when they do, I'll be standing. Bella listens until the end. Then deletes it. By noon, protesters gather outside Brooks Development headquarters. Not for Brian, but against him. Signs read justice for Bella, and we believe survivors. Inside, Brian stares down at the street from his office window, knuckles white. Get them removed, he snaps. His assistant doesn't move. Sir, security resigned. What? They don't want their names attached to this. Brian laughs, but it's hollow. Pay them double. They said no. The silence that follows is unfamiliar, terrifying. His phone rings again. Megan. He hesitates, then answers. Say it, he says coldly. Whatever excuse you rehearsed. Her voice trembles. They subpoenaed me, Brian. His jaw tightens. And I'm not lying for you. The words hit harder than any headline. You owe me, he says. I owed Bella, Megan snaps back, something breaking free in her tone. And we both know what you did. The call ends. Brian stares at the dead screen. For the first time, there's no one left to blame but the man in the reflection. Across town, Bella is stepping into a black SUV, cameras flashing despite the tinted glass. She keeps her chin lifted, posture calm, deliberate. At the hospital boardroom, tension coils tight. Executives whisper. Lawyers shuffle papers. Screens glow. The anonymous footage plays. Brian's voice echoes again, clear as day. She's not worth the money anymore. The room freezes. A board member clears his throat. Terminate all Brooks-linked partnerships. Effective immediately. Another adds. Release a public apology. Distance ourselves completely. Bella doesn't speak. She doesn't need to. The truth is doing the work for her. Outside, reporters swarm again. Ms. Brooks, do you forgive him? Bella pauses. Turns. If forgiveness were free, she says evenly, men like Brian wouldn't be so afraid of consequences. She steps into the car. Inside, Daniel exhales. That line alone will go viral. Bella closes her eyes briefly. This isn't about sound bites. Her phone lights up one more time. A breaking news alert. Arrest warrant requested Ian Brooks fraud case. Daniel stiffens. Bella. She opens her eyes, steady and unshaken. He pushed until there was nowhere left to run. If you've ever been told to stay quiet for the sake of peace, remember this moment. Subscribe. Because peace without justice is just silence dressed up nicely. The car pulls away. Behind them, sirens rise again. And somewhere in a shrinking office, Brian Brooks realizes too late. This story no longer belongs to him. The press conference was supposed to be controlled. That was the lie Brian told himself as he stepped up to the podium, jaw clenched, suit wrinkled like it had slept on him instead of the other way around. Lawyers flanked him. A prepared statement trembled in his hand. Cameras clicked non-stop. Mr. Brooks, a reporter called out, did you steal money from your disabled wife? Another voice cut in. Did you abandon her while she was pregnant? Were you sleeping with her best friend before the divorce? The questions pile up, sharp and relentless, each one stripping away another layer of the man he pretended to be. Brian raises his hands. Let me speak. The room quiets. Barely. He swallows. There has been a gross misunderstanding. My ex-wife is manipulating the narrative for personal gain. She was never. A screen behind him flickers on. Brian freezes. He didn't authorize that. The footage rolls. Hospital hallway. Night. Low-quality security video. But clear enough. Bella is in a wheelchair. Pregnant. Crying quietly. Brian's voice slices through the memory, amplified through speakers now broadcasting to the entire nation. She's not worth the money anymore. A collective gasp fills the room. Brian spins toward the tech crew. Turn that off. The clip continues. Divorce papers are ready. Sign them or don't. I'm done carrying dead weight. Someone in the crowd whispers. Oh my God. The cameras don't blink. If you've ever been humiliated behind closed doors while the world thought your abuser was respectable, stay right here. subscribe. Because moments like this don't happen by accident. They happen when truth finally fights back. Brian stumbles away from the podium as the room erupts. Is that real, Mr. Brooks? Do you deny saying that? Is this why she hid her wealth from you? He can't answer. His lawyer pulls him aside, hissing, "We need to leave. Now." But it's too late. Outside, protesters have doubled. Someone throws a bottle. Security struggles to hold the line. Across the city, Bella watches the live feed on mute. She doesn't smile. She doesn't cry. She listens to the silence inside herself, the absence of fear she once lived with every day. Daniel stands nearby. "We didn't release that footage." Bella nods slowly. "I know. So who did?" Her phone vibrates. Unknown sender. One message. "He deserves worse." Bella's fingers still. This wasn't part of her plan. And whoever is pulling strings now isn't interested in justice. They're interested in destruction. On the screen, Brian is being rushed into a car as officers push through the crowd. Someone shouts, "Arrest him." Another yells, "Rot in jail." His face, once smug, untouchable, is pale with terror. The feed cuts. Bella exhales slowly. Then Daniel's phone rings. He answers. Listens. His expression changes. "What is it?" Bella asks. Daniel lowers the phone. "The DA just upgraded the charges." And, he hesitates. "They're reopening the investigation into the car crash." Bella's heart stutters. "The accident," she whispers. Daniel nods. "Someone claims it wasn't an accident at all." Bella's hand tightens over her belly as a cold realization settles in. If that's true, then Brian didn't just abandon her. He may have tried to erase her. And somewhere out there, someone knows exactly how far he was willing to go. The screen goes dark. The room feels smaller. And the truth, much bigger than either of them imagined, is about to surface. The courtroom doors swing open like the gates of inevitability. Brian Brooks steps inside, sharp suit, perfect tie, but his eyes betray something he can't mask, panic. Every step echoes, but this time, it's not confidence that fills the space. It's dread. Reporters pack the benches, cameras angled to catch every micro-expression. Outside, a crowd of protesters chants, holding signs high. "Justice for Bella, she deserved better." Bella sits calmly at the plaintiff's table, hands folded over her belly, eyes steady. She doesn't flinch when cameras pan across the room, capturing the man who tried to erase her life. She doesn't flinch because she already knows she's untouchable in ways he never understood. The judge enters. Silence swells like a tide ready to break. Case Brooks versus Bella Brooks, financial fraud and breach of trust, the judge intones. "We will proceed." Brian's lawyer stands quickly. "Your Honor, my client." Bella raises a hand. "Actually," she interrupts, voice crisp, commanding, "I'll be presenting evidence today." The murmurs ripple through the room. Brian freezes, lips parting, as though the words themselves are a blade slicing through his carefully constructed world. "You're serious?" he hisses, leaning toward his attorney. "Yes," Bella replies evenly, never looking at him. "And everything you thought was private is now public record. Documents, spreadsheets, bank statements, timestamps, recorded calls, all projected on a screen for the world to see. Every stolen dollar, every lie, every scheme meticulously tracked and exposed." Gasps fill the room. Even Brian's closest allies shift uneasily. Investors who once applauded his resilience now glance around nervously, whispers racing faster than the judge can call order. The DA steps forward. "Your Honor, evidence suggests fraudulent activity, intentional concealment of assets, and misuse of company funds. We also have witness statements corroborating the victim's claims." Brian's face drains of color. His hands grip the table, knuckles white. "This is preposterous," he mutters. Bella doesn't look at him. She never needs to. Her phone buzzes with notifications, social media exploding, millions watching live streams, trending hashtags flashing. Bella wins, Brian exposed, justice served. She breathes slowly, calm, methodical. Then the DA drops the final bomb. We've reopened the investigation into the car accident. New evidence indicates possible intentional negligence, putting the victim at extreme risk. We're considering charges of attempted manslaughter. The courtroom goes still. The words hang like a storm cloud over Brian's head. He stammers. I didn't. Bella's voice cuts through, low and steady. You left me to die. You called me Deadweight. And now, everyone knows what that really means. Outside, protesters cheer. Phones flash. News anchors speak rapidly, repeating her story, playing the clips of Brian's cruelty over and over. His allies retreat. Megan, sitting just behind him, shrinks in her seat, realizing for the first time that the life she helped steal is crumbling in ways she cannot control. The judge pounds the gavel. Order. We will recess until tomorrow for deliberation on preliminary motions and evidence. Brian rises, pale, defeated, but there's one last desperate move. I will appeal, he screams, voice cracking. This is slander. Fraud. She can't ruin me completely. Bella stands calmly, looking at him over the table. Her gaze is ice. You already did it to yourself. The camera flashes. Reporters murmur. The world is watching. And just before the doors close for the recess, Bella's phone vibrates with a new message. Unknown sender. You think you've won? Not yet. There's more coming, things even he won't survive. Her thumb hovers over the screen. The room darkens as the doors swing shut behind her. Outside, sirens wail. The city is alive with anticipation. And somewhere, Brian Brooks finally realizes that every move he made, every betrayal he committed, is about to be fully, and publicly, paid for. The screen goes black. And Bella smiles faintly, knowing the reckoning has only just begun. Months pass, but Bella doesn't slow down. Castellan Dynamics is reborn. Not quietly. Not modestly. It rises like a phoenix, stronger, smarter, untouchable. Investors who once doubted her now line up to rebuild alongside her. Every boardroom she steps into holds a weight of authority no one challenges. Every handshake is a reminder. Power earned through strategy and endurance cannot be stolen. Bella sits in her office, overlooking the city skyline, sunlight glinting off glass towers. Her hand rests on her daughter's crib beside her desk. Hope. She named her daughter that for a reason. For survival. For truth. For the promise that cruelty doesn't define the world, it's how you respond that does. Her phone buzzes again. Notifications, social feeds, news alerts. Brian Brooks's empire is crumbling completely. Financial institutions are freezing accounts. Partners are suing for restitution. Megan is facing charges for complicity. Every lie, every betrayal, every stolen dollar, public and accounted for. Bella doesn't feel joy. She feels resolution. She feels calm. She feels her life returning, not to what it was, but to what it should have been all along, hers. Her assistant steps in. Ms. Brooks, the media is requesting an exclusive interview about your comeback. Bella nods, standing, adjusting her tailored blazer over her maternity dress. Tell them the story. The whole story. Not the gossip. The truth. She pauses, glancing at the crib. And tell them, she says softly, never underestimate someone who has been underestimated before. Outside, cameras flash. Social media explodes. Millions watch her every move. People who once celebrated her downfall now cheer her rise. And somewhere deep in the news feeds, a phrase trends globally. Never cross a woman who knows her worth. Brian Brooks is a shadow in the distance. His calls are unanswered. His allies are gone. Every legal move he makes is countered, every attempt to regain control blocked. His empire, once shiny and untouchable, is now a cautionary tale. Bella walks past the glass walls of her office, holding her daughter, sunlight hitting her face. She's strong. She's alive. She's more than anyone imagined. And as she steps into the bustling streets, ready to face the world, one thought runs through her mind. No matter how cruel people are, integrity, patience, and courage always win. If you've ever been abandoned, betrayed, or called worthless when you were at your lowest, remember this. Justice doesn't always arrive quietly. Sometimes it walks in heels, with a calm smile, and leaves the world forever changed. Subscribe, because stories like Bella's are proof that no villain can outlast truth, resilience, and a heart that refuses to break. And as the camera pans to the city skyline, Bella whispers to her daughter, "This is just the beginning, Hope. We'll always rise." The screen fades to black, but the feeling lingers. Power reclaimed, dignity restored, and a warning echoing in every ear that dared to doubt her. Remember, your strength is louder than their lies. Never let anyone convince you otherwise.